My name is Alexander Robinson, and today I'm going to be telling you about ISIS. Something you may not know about ISIS is that they were originally actually a part of Al Qaeda, and that they decided to break away from Al Qaeda because they were not radical enough for them. And then that later Al Qaeda actually disowned ISIS because of their different beliefs, where Al Qaeda always tried to have their members be true believers, whereas ISIS wants just get as many members as they can to carry out attacks that being true believers or true Muslims does not matter to them. There are many things that they do as far as beheadings and things that Al Qaeda also did, but then ISIS they don't care about other things like being true believers and things like that, and so they disowned them. And also the ways that they do things are different. For example, Al Qaeda always, when they would send out messages of threats, they would use like tapes and things, whereas Al Qaeda would do that, and then ISIS, they actually use more modern ways of sending messages, such as social media, which is actually far more potent because they can use things like Twitter and try to get other young minds to come and attack for them, who are actually right here in the U.S. to attack and kill people. So that's one of the main things that makes them a lot more of a potent or threat than Al Qaeda ever was, because they're not just after true believers; they're after anyone they can get to help fight their war against people, really. And that is one of the things that makes them harder to fight against this, because it makes it much harder to fight against them that way. There are also groups who try and fight against their social media presence, known such as Anonymous, where they go in these Twitter accounts and things, and they try and figure out who are these ISIS members, and they track them back to find and figure out where they are and things, and stop them before they shut down their Twitter accounts to stop what they're doing. So that's actually a pretty good group there, I think. They actually don't consider themselves like computer hackers, though. They call themselves tracers, because what they do is they trace the message where it's coming from, and then they shut it down to prevent people from being able to go further in sending their toxic message, I guess you could say. So I think that's good. So that's probably one of the good ways that the U.S. can help fight against them, is actually by using these other groups that really aren't part of the military. You don't really know who they are. They actually seem to be doing a pretty good job of that. Other than that, I think going into places like Afghanistan and things could help, boots on the ground and stuff as far as that. But the social media presence, you got to have something there to really stop that there. That's what really makes ISIS worse than Al Qaeda, I think. Yeah, and that is. Is there
When did ISIS begin?
They originally came out, I believe it was in the 1990s,